Hey, what is up, guys? Don't mind the balloons in the back, but today we are going to be doing what's on my iPhone video, and it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and it's surprisingly one of the easier videos I'll have to film, but I just haven't gotten around to doing it. And I do know that many of these videos are very popular, so I'm glad to be sharing with you what's on my iPhone for 2018. Okay, so to start, if you turn my phone on, you see that there's this average Earth wallpaper, and you're probably thinking, oh wow, Steven, you're so boring. Well, just take a look at this. That's a live wallpaper right there. So what you think might just be an ordinary stock wallpaper that I got from Apple, it's actually live wallpaper, and I'll show you later where I got it from. It was actually an app. But swiping over to the left, you can see that I have certain widgets here. I have my calendar. I have my so that's like up next, and this is like my general calendar, and you can show it shows what I'm doing the next couple hours. I also have batteries, and obviously you're probably thinking that's kind of self-explanatory. It actually has other important things that I sometimes might want to know, like the battery status of my Beats X or my Beats Solo 3, so like wireless headphones. It's very useful to have that information there, so I can see whether I need to charge it or not. Siri app suggestions, these are just some of my most, actually I don't even use all of these that often, but those top three, I'd say, like I use these top three a lot. You have the news as usual. And you have nearby maps, so I can see like if I want to eat something. I usually don't tap that, but coffee sometimes, shopping. I don't drive, so I guess that's kind of useless, but just general information that I might want to see at a glance. I have my data here as well. It's interesting. So if you have I don't know if this exists on other carriers, but for Verizon you can actually get I guess this is called I guess it's just sort of like a data update from My Verizon Data, My Verizon app. I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to install it, but it's really useful. So you can see how much data you have left, and for someone on a budget, especially like me, it's really interesting to see, and very helpful, not just interesting, but very useful information to have the amount of data you have left. And as you can see, I have only 10 days remaining, and I have more than half of my data left, so that's very good. I'm being very good about my data. If you're wondering, good way to restrict your data: don't watch YouTube videos, don't download or upload any kind of big files, and you should be pretty much good. And then here you have the numerical app, which I'll get into later. I deleted the stock calendar app and I replaced it with numerical, and there's a reason why I did that, apart from just the fact that it looks like freaking awesome. So that's that, and that's pretty much it for the lock screen. And then going into my phone, you can see that I have a pretty simplistic layout. I like to keep things simple, and for someone who likes a lot of customization, I found myself very challenged with the fact that iOS doesn't include much customization. So what I did is I separated it into 3 different pages, and I will discuss why each app goes in each page in just a moment. But as you can see on this first page, you have weather, mail. I do use the stock mail app. No third-party mail app for me. I think the first-party mail app works perfectly fine. I have phone app, obviously, camera. I do not use Apple Photos. I use Google Photos. Although I do have Apple Photos. I haven't deleted it. I do have Apple Photos. Can you even delete it? No, you can't even delete it. But even if I had the option to delete it, I probably wouldn't, because there are certain things I do like on this that I don't like about this. But overall, Google Photos, much better option. Free unlimited storage for your photos and videos. I'm not sponsored by them. I just think it's a really good service. I do use the stock calendar application. I do use YouTube, obviously. This is just stock notes. I do use that periodically from time to time. I store sensitive information there and things like that. I use Apple News, not frequently, but occasionally here and there I will use that to update myself on the news, although usually I like reading it from a computer. And then I have a travel folder, which we'll get into in a second. I have Google Maps here. I don't use Apple Maps. I might have deleted Apple Maps, I'm not sure. But yeah, Google Maps is the go-to navigation app for me. And then I also use Wallet for Apple Pay transactions. So if you go into the travel folder here, you'll see that I have the bus schedule, the subway schedule. There's Apple Maps. Okay, I think I use that sometimes for maybe, there are certain things, like it depends what kind of method of transportation I'm using, where I'll use Apple Maps. And then Uber, I don't use Lyft. I kind of want to, but I'm already into the Uber environment and I like the way Uber works, so I'm not really going to switch anytime soon unless really Lyft is something compelling. Yeah, those are the 4 apps that are in travel folder, and pretty much just all my ways of traveling. So if you haven't realized at this point, this first page is the essentials, the stuff that I use on a daily basis, actually several times a day for some of these apps here, and these are the things that I need to get at immediately, especially like these. This is very important. Like if I want to quickly know the bus schedule, like when's the next bus coming, it's very important to see that. And then at the bottom here, I guess I should mention this, I just have the stock messages application, Apple Music. I do use Apple Music. I don't use Spotify. I would use Spotify, except for the fact that Apple Music has way more K-pop than Spotify could even dream for. So I do use Apple Music because I love K-pop and I'm a huge fan. I'll just give you a little sneak peek into what I have here. I do have some American artists, but EXO, I love EXO. And I have so much BTS. If we filter by artists, artists. If you go to BTS, this isn't even all of it, but this just shows all the albums I own. It's really quite awesome. So leave a thumbs up if you love BTS and love K-pop, because I certainly do. But now I do use Safari. I used Chrome and the Google app for a while, but I don't know, it just didn't seem. I love unless there's a huge problem with the stock app, I will use it, because I just like to have that integrated experience that Apple offers. And Safari is it's a good browser on mobile. It might not be so good on the Mac, but it definitely is really optimized in terms of battery life. And for me, battery life is a huge issue. As you can see, my battery's always really low. And then I just have settings there. Those are like my 4 most used apps. And then if we swipe over to the second page here, I have several more folders, and then these are sort of like my secondary apps. So we have the entertainment folder, the games folder, the social media folder, the productivity folder, and then these other apps here, which we'll get into in a second. So in the entertainment folder, I just have like iTunes Store, App Store, iBooks, which is renamed to Apple Books now. That's not Apple TV. It's like the TV app for iOS, and it works pretty well. I would delete it, except I don't have an iPad that runs iOS 10 or later, so I need to use this if I want to watch things through iTunes or something like that. And then the CW, so I really dislike this app a lot, but I do watch shows like Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, and Black Lightning recently has been really, I've liked that show a lot. So when they first come to air, I don't want to have to pay for them through the iTunes store, because that's actually really, if you think about it, adds up to be pretty expensive, about $3 an episode. You're spending a significant amount of money per month, and I just can't afford to be spending that kind of money. So I just watch them for free with ads on the CW. Not my go-to, but it's definitely something that works, and I enjoy the content that way. If you go to my games, you can believe me or not when I say this, but I actually don't really game at all on my phone. Perhaps it's because of the poor battery life, but even before that started, I never really played games on my phone. I used to be a huge mobile gamer, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago when I was in middle school, but since then I've just sort of not really used many of these apps. I'd say the most played game, I could say my favorite game is either World of Warriors, great game, or Clash Royale. And I'll leave links to everything I'm talking about in the description below, whether it's an app or a service or a game or anything like that. But yeah, again, I don't game too much on my phone, like I said already. I just personally I'm not a huge mobile gamer, so yeah. If you go into social media folder, I do use social media quite a bit. I do have Instagram, I do have Snapchat, and then I have some of these other things. I only use Google Hangouts. The reason I have Google Hangouts is actually not because I only communicate with one person through it as of right now, but I used to communicate with a lot of people, because if they didn't have, or what was it? I couldn't, oh yeah, that's right. If they don't have an iPhone, I can't converse with them through iMessage. I actually hate using the the stock messages application to text people who don't have an iPhone, because it's so annoying. Sometimes the messages don't send. I don't receive certain messages. I receive duplicates. They receive duplicates of messages. It just gets insane. And you can't see when they were last online. You can't see whether they read your message. But with Hangouts, it's much better. And I believe it's free. I'm not sure. I don't really remember. But I definitely have Hangouts for a good reason. And I think it's a really good messaging service for what it's worth. And then here I FaceTime, obviously. FaceTime family usually. Google Plus, I have that because like the reason I have Google Plus is because I actually think it's really important, and I actually will leave a link in the description below to follow me on Google Plus. No shame. I mean, I know why it's not super popular, but to me, there's nothing wrong with the service, and there are a lot of things I do like about it more than Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat or something like that. So Google Plus, I do post there occasionally, so follow me there, and it'll be updates to the channel. Not really my personal life, but the channel. So yeah, you can go follow me on Google Plus by clicking the link in the description below. I do have Find Friends, just to, I don't really know why I have it, but I just do. I don't even know why I still use it. I should probably delete it, honestly. So I do have Prisma as well. Prisma is like sort of like a photo editing tool, and it really is very interesting, and most of the stuff is free, so you don't need to pay for many of the filters and editing tools that they give you. It's sort of like a mobile Photoshop, but it's free, so I guess that's sort of nice. YouTube Studio, that's how I interact with you guys. I do respond to comments on my computer too, but if I want to read some comments or get an update on my channel stats, it's a really easy way to just check on it on my phone. Snapchat, huge battery hog, but it really is one of my favorite social media apps. I'm not going to provide like my social media other than my Google Plus below, because this is like more of my personal life stuff I don't want to really be sharing with the public right now. You get it. But Google Plus, channel updates, things like that, so feel free to follow me there. And then I don't know if I mentioned, Kakao Talk is for contacting my Korean relatives and Korean friends. If you didn't know, Kakao Talk is very popular in Asia, specifically in South Korea, which is where I am from originally. So that's how I communicate to many of my family members and Korean friends. And then swiping over to the second page of my social media, I have Instagram layout, which is essentially like making specific formats of pictures for Instagram. So sort of like if you want to have a side-by-side comparison or a top and bottom comparison, or a layout of 4 pictures, you can lay out your pictures, pick from your camera roll, and combine several pictures together to create like a nice little how do you call it, like what's the word, collage, that's the word, a nice little collage. And then I have Snapchat Bitmoji here, pretty fun. I have clips. I've never used it before. I don't even really know what it does, but yeah, it's this weird thing. Yeah, don't know if I'll ever use that. Facebook, that's how I interact with my Korean friends and European friends and South American friends, and just international friends in general. I have a lot of international friends. Next is productivity. So here you can see that I have not too many apps, because there's not too much productivity it's going to get done on my phone. That's mainly for my MacBook. But here you can see we have Swirkit. So I am an athlete, a pretty serious athlete. Google Translate, just if I'm having issues reading a document that might be in another language, like for Spanish class. Google Docs, I do have that to read my scripts off of actually when I do News Now and Apple Tech Talks videos. Then you have a numerical 2. This is what I was talking about before. This is like my go-to calculator app since I got rid of the stock calculator app. So essentially it's like a very cool theme. You can customize the theme. It's very functional. So actually you might see there's no equals button. So when you do a conversion or a computation of any kind, you get the answer immediately. You don't have to actually put everything in and then click enter. It adds up to a lot of time saved, and in general it's just much better. And then here I have files. So again, I don't really use this that much, but to access like several documents I might download from the web or from mail or something like that, it's very useful to have them in one place here. And then for Photomath, this is very useful, actually one of my favorite productivity apps on iOS, probably my favorite actually. It's essentially it will be able to solve literally almost any problem that you throw at it that's algebra based or geometry based, I believe. Searching on the App Store, it's got great reviews, and it's overall like a very, very, very useful app. When I do math homework, it can help me sometimes when I'm in a pinch. So that's productivity. And I have Contacts app, I have the Reminders. I do use the stock Reminders app. I use Google Keep and Google Tasks occasionally, but this Reminders app just generally works best for me, and also I can get Siri to remind me things, whereas it won't work with third-party applications. So again, I like to try to use the stock applications if I can. I do have Fitbit here. I don't currently have a Fitbit that works, but I'm working on getting a free replacement. Then I have the stock clock app, which I do have. You can set timers and stuff, and then you also can set I have certain clocks, world clock there, and then my school alarm, and then my that's not usually the time I wake up, but for finals it is, and then that's what it is for weekends. Seamless, so I don't order food that often because it's really expensive, but occasionally when I really can't go out, it's usually when I'm sick or when I have people over that I'll want to order something fast. So this is the best way to get that done, and it's better than Uber Eats, because Uber Eats, there's like a weird history where Uber drivers will steal or poison your food or something. So I don't really want to deal with that. I'll just have normal delivery guys deliver it, so that's why I have Seamless. Headspace, so again, because I'm an athlete, a pretty serious one, Headspace is for the athletes or just general people who really want to meditate very naturally, and you don't really need any kind of experience. You just kind of dive into it head first. I believe the membership is about $12 a month, or you can do like a yearly subscription for $100 a month, or $100 a year, my bad. And you can also just get the free trial or the free version of it, which will give you access to the first 10 sessions. Again, I'm not sponsored by them, I just really think this is a really useful app, so I have that. I have Breathe to Relax too. It's another app for meditation, and it works very well. I believe they use this actually with the U.S. Army. I'm not sure for like 100%, but I'm pretty sure that someone in the U.S. military does use this app for military purposes. And then the My Verizon app that I mentioned earlier provides insight into my international and domestic plans. I find iPhone here in case I lose my iPhone, although it doesn't really make sense why I'd have it if I lose it. But yeah, I do have Find iPhone enabled, I believe. Amazon Alexa, as you can see, actually just right here, I do have an Amazon Alexa. I was wondering when it would trigger. But yeah, that's basically what it is. You can control your skills and things like that, and customize your Echo Dot exactly the way you want it to. Health app, I don't really use this, but essentially you can get insight into your weight, your other bodily statistics. I do have this folder called Pending Apps where I just have a bunch of mostly games, but also just other apps where I feel like I don't really need them, but at the same time I will use them occasionally. So these are sort of like apps that I either recently downloaded or I'm considering deleting that go into this folder. This one's actually kind of interesting. It's called Battery Doctor. This is by this shady Chinese app developer, and I actually hacked it so that you can actually get this, not only optimize your battery, but clean the cache, which Apple doesn't allow you to do currently. So it currently will delete all your junk, all your app caches and things like that, and free up some storage and memory for your iPhone. So it's quite useful. If you go out of there, we have voice memos. I don't use that often, but you know, have it around for functional purposes. PlayStation app. I am a pretty avid PlayStation gamer. Philips Hue app lights. I don't use it that often because I'm trying to find a compatible light, like a lamp in general, that will support the voltage of the Philips Hue light bulbs. And once I get that, I can have that start up and working, and I can control it with the Echo Dot and things like that. But yeah, for now, I'll just have that, you know, just sitting there. I won't delete it though, because I do need it later. It's probably going to be a summer project, honestly. And then this is called wallpapers, but as you see above, it says 10,000 plus wallpapers. And they're not kidding when they say over 10,000. Not that I counted, I can't confirm it's over 10,000, but it is a lot of wallpapers, more than you could ever need. Basically, that's how I got this wallpaper. Basically, they have a bunch of awesome live wallpapers, and then also a bunch of stills too. So in general, it's just like a really nice experience. Mobile Passport, so this is also a really useful app. Let's open it up here. If you're going through internationally, like coming from a different country, this is extremely useful. Instead of having to go through customs every time and have to wait through that long line, well, basically you literally just add an account, and then which is obviously free, and then you literally just create a profile with all of your information already preloaded, attach that to your current trip, fill out the details. It takes probably like 5 minutes to do the whole thing after you've already added the account. And once you do that, you literally just have sort of, I don't know what it's called, but sort of like something that the customs can scan. And there's a specific place, I don't know if you realize, that's called Mobile Passport. And you can go through that really short line. I don't know why no more people do it, but essentially that's what it is. It's a mobile passport on your phone. It can't do everything. It only helps you go through customs, so don't expect to, like, you know, show that at a liquor store, something like that, and expect to get liquor. That's not how it works, but it is a mobile passport, so it does provide a certain amount of identification for you when going through customs. Google Wi-Fi, again, don't use that really at all. Not even really sure what it does, but I have Google On Hub, which is back there, and Google On Hub is a Wi-Fi router or Wi-Fi extender. And then finally, I have Apple Photos here. Don't use it that much. I use Google Photos, but you know, I just keep it around mostly because I can't delete it, unfortunately. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my iPhone. What's on my iPhone, and I hope you enjoyed. If you liked it, please give me a big thumbs up and click the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this one, or just tech videos in general. And as always, thank you so much for watching my videos, and I will see you in the next video.